With the true beginning of winter coming in December, I thought I wouldn't be able to get out to Railfan ever. I was correct, but my mom still had to drive to work every day, and ended up catching quite a few trains. The first one was on December 5th, and it's a Canadian National Mixed Freight with 2 GEVOs. There was even a string of 3 BN hoppers near the end. The very next day, she ended up catching 2 trains. The first one was a Canadian National Mixed Freight with a CN GEVO leading and a UP GEVO in second. And the second train was another Canadian National Mixed Freight with 2 GEVOs. I don't know who Tom is, but he better be pretty important if he's getting his own grain hopper. Man, now I want my own grain hopper. On December 13th, we were uptown and I caught this video of a train from the parking lot. On December 16th, my dad was stopped at a railroad crossing in Walkerton and got this video of a CP intermodal with a very disgusting AC-44 leading. On December 19th, I finally got the chance to actually properly go rail fanning for the month. And of course, it was at night. And just to rub a little bit more salt in the wound, I butchered up the first shot, and it's so bad I can't even tell what these locomotives are. I'm pretty sure the first one's an ace, but the second one, no idea. The ghost of EMD was really active tonight because this train was also an EMD leader, another ace, and behind that was yet another ace and a Jeep, a full EMD lash up at the depot. This is not something you see very often. Of course, the shot's terrible. While it's impossible to tell from the video, these weirdly colored hoppers at the beginning of the train were Amtrak. Like, they had the old Amtrak logo on them. No idea how rare that is, let alone seeing this many of them in a row. And after that, we went downtown and got to see this nice light display of the courthouse. On December 23rd, we got up relatively bright and early, at least for winter break, to go out and railfan. Yes, this is Christmas Eve. Yes, I do like to railfan this much. Anyways, I'll let Past Me explain what happened once we arrived.
Hey, so we were at the depot. Yeah, it's a depot. And we set my iPad up on this wood to hold it up. And we thought we forgot Dad's phone over at the house. And we were about to leave to go pick it up, but turns out it was in his pocket. And I was the one who said, check for it. Make absolute sure before we go home that you have it. And yeah, we had it. Let's go. Oh my God.
The first train we caught was a Union Pacific mixed freight that was incredibly short. The leader was an AC 6000 CW, and the trailing unit was an Ace. I thought UP had gotten evicted from the depot a while ago, so this shocks me quite a bit. Unfortunately, I didn't get the handheld shot because the train surprised me. After that train, Liam arrived, known online as the Heston Railfan. He had come out because apparently NS 8025, the Monongahela Heritage Unit, was supposed to show up. I had never caught an NS Heritage Unit before, so I decided to stay to catch it. The first train we caught together was another Union Pacific mixed freight. The leader was a Gevo, and the trailing unit was a brand new AC-44C6M in the new Union Pacific paint scheme. For anyone who wants my opinion on it, it's fine, but the front makes me want to die. Did I forget to mention that I forgot my tripod? Yeah, I forgot my tripod. I had to prop up my iPad on wood. As if the train activity couldn't get any more insane than it already was, once the end of the Union Pacific oil train disappeared, we saw flickering lights in the distance. An NS train was upon us, and it was B09, the steel local freight. I won't be calling it B09 because that name is dumb and just the steel local freight makes more sense. Anyways, it was 2-9s, not the SD40-2 as I remember. After that, we caught another NS train, this time with a AC-44 leading and a -9 trailing. This was a mixed freight. It's going quite fast, too. Yep. Yep, just take it in. Just take in my stupidity. Yep, just take it in. Ooh, Red and Blue Mountain in Northern. The last train was unfortunately devoid of any heritage. We had to leave because my mom was coming to pick me up from my dad's house. This train was a NS oil train with two AC-44s leading. I will admit the shot was good, but doesn't mean I'll have to come back to catch 8025 another time. I mean, not like it was leading, but still. Here we are, pulling up to the depot on December 27th. December 23rd was a bit of a letdown, but oh boy did this trip make up for it and then some. The first train was a CPKC grain train with a KCS AC-44 leading and a CP GEVO behind it. This is the first KCS leader I've caught and the first KCS engine I've caught decently up close. No, the DPU at Bensonville does not count. The second train was a BNSF mixed freight with a BNSF Ace leading, a Mace, or rebuilt SD-70 Mac, behind that, and then NS-9 in third as foreign power on NS, but it's NS, because that makes perfect sense. But despite the insane lash-up, that wasn't even the most interesting thing on this train. And yep, your eyes do not deceive you, that is a Great Northern logo on a modern hopper car. This is one of BNSF's heritage hoppers. They serve as BNSF's versions of heritage units. They're much more difficult to catch because they're hoppers and not heritage units. There really needs to be a tracker for them somewhere. Doubt that anyone would actually use it. Anyways, with how many grain trains BNSF has, seeing these anywhere outside of those is insanely rare. This made up for 8025. And that wasn't even it. As the BNSF train rolled off into sight, the light of a train, an NS1 on the other line, came into view. The second engine was a -9, and it was an intermodal. The first engine, however, well, after missing 8101, 1067, 1068, 1069, and 8114, finally, I caught my first NS Heritage unit, 8105, the Interstates. But after that, the madness still did not stop, because immediately after, surprising me quite a bit, was an NS mixed rate with two SD70M-2s as power. And the second engine was 2662, an old friend who I had seen many, many times before this. Oh boy, we're still getting even more rareness. This is a scale test car. It's used to test the scales that weigh loads that are transported by weight, like wood chips and grain. They usually are transported near the front of trains here to avoid damage to them, as if they accidentally become lighter than they're supposed to be, that would lose money for the railroad. And we know they can't let that happen. The finale wasn't necessarily rare, but more so a novelty. The leader was a AC-44, behind that was a Dash 9, the last two engines were AC-44s as well. It's interesting to see 4 engines of the same type that aren't GEVOs on any Class 1 nowadays. The lash-up is also perfectly anti-elephant style, with only the leader facing forwards. I'm not the type of person to complain about elephant style, but if you're one of the people who's super petty and gets pissed when their trains aren't perfectly like this, enjoy this catch. On January 7th, we went out for another railfanning trip, the first of the new year. New year, new trains, right? Well, no, because the chaos of December 27th did not stop here. The first train was a steel local freight with the 2-9s, 9648 and 9601, the same pair I had seen on the 23rd. Interesting. Guess they're stuck here like 3517 and 3326 were. While we admire, or actually the exact opposite of that, these idiots here climbing on the railroad tracks, let's ignore them and focus on the second train. This train was a NS intermotor with 2 AC-44s leading and a GEVO behind that. Seems boring, nothing interesting, right? Right? Well, no, because the second AC-44 was 4005, one of the DC to AC Norfolk Southern bonnets. This is 2 of 4 I have to catch before getting all the NS bonnets.
win for me!
While we were getting our haircuts, we missed this BNSF train. 2H3 GEVOs, nothing interesting. Afterwards, we decided to stay on the other side of the depot for one train. This train was an NS grain train with a KCS AC44 leading. The second one in less than a week. Well, 2 weeks, because, you know. You get the point. I had not seen a single KCS engine leading before these two, so this was pretty surprising. Note that the KCS logo underneath the cab has been patched, but the KCS lettering on the side hasn't. Interesting. Too bad we didn't stay for another minute, as we missed this train with an NS-9 leading and an ACC in second. On January 17th, my mom was uptown running some sort of errand and caught this NS intermodal at a distance with two AC44s leading. On January 24th, we arrived at the depot to, there was a GEVO parked at the depot. At the time, we didn't know why, it was too dark to tell. Interestingly, this is number 7584, exactly 10 numbers down from 7574, which was the first engine I ever caught while rail fanning. Is there some moral here about maturing and getting better at what you do? Probably, but I'm not going to go into that. Anyways, the first train we caught was a BNSF coal train with an ace leading and a GEVO behind that. I decided not to do two cameras this time and use one camera to take pictures, because those show up better. In between trains, we caught this MOW truck moving. We thought it might get out and drive the GEVO. We were of course very wrong, but we didn't know why. The second train was an NS intermodal with an AC44 leading and a GEVO trailing. Guess the magic of December 27th faded off. On January 30th, we were uptown to grab some things, and, ooh. Guess that's why it's not moving. We assumed that 7584 had struck a vehicle somewhere and got placed here. This might be being used as a rip track currently. Anyways, there was also this front loader picking up ties on the other side of the depot. Interesting. We tried to stay for a moving train, but none showed up, and we eventually had to go home because it was after getting groceries, and we didn't want them to spoil. So, make sure to come back next time for another documentary just like this one.